There is a particular kind of stillness that surrounds someone who has stopped chasing, and that stillness is doing something to a person in your orbit that they have not fully admitted, even to themselves. That is the very first thing Spirit handed me when I opened this energy for you today, Virgo. Not noise, not desperation, quiet, settled, grounded presence. The specific energy of someone who decided at some point to step back from the usual pursuit of romantic connection and simply exist fully in their own life instead. And that decision, the choice to be complete on your own rather than seeking completion through someone else, has become one of the most magnetic things about you, whether you intended it that way or not. I want to walk you through exactly who is responding to this energy, what specifically about your current season is affecting them so deeply, why they have not said anything yet, and what is building toward a real shift in your single status. Stay with me through this entire reading because there is genuine depth here, and I do not want to skip past any layer of it. Let me describe what I felt the moment this energy opened, because the very first impression carries real signal about what we are working with. I felt magnetism, the specific pulling quality that exists when someone encounters a person who is genuinely whole on their own terms rather than visibly searching for someone to complete them. This kind of wholeness is rare, and it produces a very particular response in people who are paying close attention. They notice it, they feel drawn toward it, often before they fully understand why. I also felt restraint present in the energy of the person responding to you, a careful holding back that comes from genuine respect rather than disinterest. They have noticed your current season, your choice to prioritize yourself, your peace, your own growth above the usual pursuit of romantic attention. And rather than that making them lose interest, it has done the opposite entirely. I want to talk about what your current season actually communicates to the people around you, because I think this deserves real, honest examination. When someone chooses to step back from actively pursuing romantic connection, when they decide instead to focus on their own healing, their own goals, their own relationship with themselves, it sends a signal that is far more powerful than most people realize. It communicates self-respect. It communicates that you are not available simply because someone shows interest, that your time and your presence are not given carelessly. This is rare in a world where many people move quickly from one connection to the next without ever fully settling into themselves first. I am sensing this quality in you has become genuinely compelling to someone specific, someone who has likely encountered plenty of people who are eager, available, easy to access. Your current energy, the deliberate slowness, the groundedness, the absence of any visible neediness, stands out sharply against that backdrop. It creates curiosity. It creates a sense that earning your genuine attention would mean something significant precisely because you are not handing it out freely right now. I want to expand on this further because I think it matters significantly to understanding why this particular season of your life has produced such a strong response in someone else. There is a difference between someone who is single because no one has shown interest and someone who is single because they have made a deliberate, conscious decision to prioritize their own development first. The second category carries an entirely different energy, one rooted in agency and self-respect rather than circumstance. People who are paying genuine attention can sense this difference, and it tends to produce a deeper, more respectful kind of interest than the surface level attraction that often characterizes more casual pursuit. Let me speak to who this person is, because Spirit is giving me distinct impressions that I want to honor with real specificity. This is someone who has likely been in connections before that lacked genuine depth, situations where attraction was immediate but substance was missing once the initial excitement faded. I am sensing they have grown tired of that pattern, tired of connections that feel exciting briefly and then hollow once the surface has been fully explored. When they encountered your current energy, the depth, the self containment, the quiet confidence that does not require external validation to feel solid, something in them recognized it as different from what they have been encountering elsewhere. I am also sensing this person has a fair amount of respect for boundaries, more than they might initially appear to have. They are not the type to push aggressively against your current choice to remain single and focused on yourself. Instead, they have been watching, genuinely admiring, allowing themselves to want something significant with you while also respecting that your timeline is your own to determine. I want to describe this person's character a bit further because I think the specificity helps you recognize them more clearly if they are already present in your awareness. I am sensing someone who has done some of their own internal work as well, perhaps not as extensively as the journey you have been on, but enough that they understand the value of what you are currently building within yourself. This shared understanding, even if unspoken between you, creates a foundation of mutual respect that differs significantly from connections where one person's growth is misunderstood or dismissed by the other. I am also sensing this person carries a quiet patience that is not always their natural default in other areas of their life. There may be parts of their personality that are more impulsive or quick to act, but when it comes to you specifically, something in them has chosen deliberate restraint, understanding intuitively that rushing this particular connection would risk losing something they genuinely value. Does this feel like it is connecting to someone in your life right now, Virgo? Has there been a person whose attention toward you has felt different lately, more respectful, more patient than what you have typically experienced? Let me know in the comments. I want to hear how this is resonating with your own situation. I want to address why this person has not said anything yet, because I think the reasons here matter significantly to understanding the full picture. I am sensing genuine uncertainty about timing on their part. They do not want to interrupt or pressure a season that you have clearly chosen deliberately, one that seems to be serving you well in terms of your own growth and peace. There is a real fear on their end of being perceived as just another person trying to pull you out of something good for yourself simply because they want access to your attention. I am also sensing they have been waiting for a sign, some indication from you that you might be open to at least a conversation, even if you are not ready for anything more significant than that. This waiting has not been passive in the sense of disinterest. It has been active, attentive waiting, the kind that comes from someone who genuinely cares about getting the timing right, rather than simply acting on impulse regardless of what you might actually want or need right now. I want to expand on this internal struggle a bit further because I think it adds depth to understanding this person's experience. There is likely a private back and forth happening in their mind, moments where they consider reaching out, followed by moments of reconsidering, worried that any approach right now could be interpreted as disrespecting the boundary you have set for yourself. This careful internal deliberation, while sometimes frustrating from an outside perspective, actually reflects genuine consideration for your well-being rather than simple hesitation rooted in their own insecurity alone. I am also sensing some self-doubt present in their hesitation, questions about whether they are even someone you would consider once you were ready to open this particular door again. This uncertainty, ironically, often accompanies genuine, significant feeling more than it accompanies casual interest. People who do not care much about an outcome rarely spend much energy worrying about whether they measure up to what someone else deserves. Inhale with me for a moment, Virgo. I want to speak to what is shifting now because Spirit is showing me real movement building in this situation rather than indefinite, passive admiration from a distance. I am sensing this person is approaching a point where they want to express in some form that their interest in you is genuine and significant, not simply casual curiosity. This does not mean they are going to pressure you to abandon your current focus on yourself. I am sensing real respect present in how they intend to approach this, and understanding that ending your single status, if that ever happens with them, needs to come from your own readiness rather than their impatience. I want to describe what this approach might actually look like when it happens, because I think the practical shape of it matters here. For some of you, this is going to look like a direct, honest conversation where this person finally articulates that they have noticed you, genuinely admire the season you are in, and would like to know you more deeply when and if you feel ready for that. I am sensing this conversation, when it happens, is going to feel notably different from typical romantic pursuit, carrying more substance and genuine respect than the usual patterns you may have encountered before. For others, this might unfold more gradually through consistent, low-pressure presence that allows you to notice their genuine character over time before anything explicit gets said. I want you to pay attention to consistency here as much as to any specific words, because genuine character reveals itself more clearly through sustained, patient behavior than through any single declaration. I want to add a third possibility here as well, because Spirit is showing me this as relevant for some of you specifically. Some of you may receive a more indirect signal first, perhaps through a mutual connection, mentioning this person's genuine respect and admiration for you, or through small gestures that communicate interest without requiring an explicit conversation yet. I do not want you to feel obligated to respond to these indirect signals immediately, but I do want you to recognize them for what they likely represent if you notice them occurring around you. I want to speak to something important about your own readiness, because I do not want this reading to suggest you are obligated to end your current season simply because someone has taken notice of it. Your choice to be celibate, to be single, to focus deeply on yourself right now was made for genuine reasons that deserve to be honored fully. This reading does not suggest that reason has expired or that you owe anyone a shift in your circumstances simply because they have developed real feelings during this time. You remain entirely in control of when, whether, and how this season transitions into something else. I want to encourage you to trust your own internal sense of readiness above any external timeline, including whatever timeline this person might quietly be hoping for. If and when you feel genuinely ready to consider opening this particular door, that readiness should come from your own clarity, not from pressure, however gentle, coming from someone else's interest. I also want to address something about what genuine readiness on your end might actually feel like when it arrives, because I think this distinction matters. Genuine readiness tends to feel like expansion rather than obligation, a sense of curiosity and openness that arises naturally rather than a feeling of needing to respond simply because someone has shown patience. If and when you notice that natural curiosity arising in yourself about this person specifically, that is worth paying attention to as a signal separate from any external pressure or timeline. Let me speak to what makes this particular connection potentially different from past experiences if you do eventually decide to explore it. I am sensing this person has been genuinely affected by witnessing your growth during this season, not simply attracted to an idea of you, but to the actual demonstrated evidence of who you are becoming through this period of self focus. This matters significantly because it suggests their interest is rooted in something more substantial than surface attraction. They have watched you build something real with yourself, and that has made them want to be part of your life in a way that honors what you have built rather than disrupting it. I want to expand on this distinction further because I think it is one of the more valuable pieces of guidance in this entire reading. There is a meaningful difference between someone who wants to be with you because of what you can offer them and someone who wants to be with you because they genuinely admire and respect who you have become through your own intentional growth. The second kind of interest tends to produce far healthier, more sustainable connections because it is rooted in genuine appreciation for your full self rather than a desire to extract something specific from you. I want to speak further to how this person has been processing their own feelings during this period because I think it deserves attention. There is likely real internal reflection happening on their end as well. Questions they have been asking themselves about whether they are genuinely prepared to meet you at the level of depth you have been cultivating. This kind of self examination on their part suggests they understand, at least intuitively, that approaching you eventually would require them to show up with real substance rather than surface level charm alone. The seriousness with which they seem to be considering this reflects well on the genuine nature of what they feel. I am also sensing that this person has likely grown through observing you during this season, even from a respectful distance. Witnessing someone choose their own well being over the temporary comfort of constant romantic pursuit can be genuinely instructive for someone willing to pay attention and learn from it. I am sensing this person has internalized something about the value of intentional living through watching you navigate this period, which speaks further to the genuine depth of their admiration rather than a shallow, fleeting interest that would not produce this kind of reflective response. I want to address what genuine respect for your timeline actually looks like in practice so you can recognize it clearly if and when this person approaches you. It looks like patience that does not waver even when met with hesitation. It looks like genuine interest in your continued growth, even growth that does not directly involve them. It looks like an absence of guilt tripping or subtle pressure designed to make you feel you are keeping them waiting unfairly. I want you to watch for these qualities as confirmation that what this person feels is genuinely respectful rather than simply patient on the surface while harboring frustration underneath. I also want to give you some practical markers to watch for as this unfolds, because I think specificity serves you better than general reassurance alone. Genuine respect tends to come without conditions attached. It does not require you to justify your timeline or explain yourself extensively before it is honored. If this person, when they do approach you, asks questions about your well-being and your growth with genuine curiosity rather than thinly veiled impatience about when you might be ready for something more. That distinction is worth noticing carefully. I want to speak to your own healing and growth throughout this season. Separate entirely from whatever this person eventually does or says. This time you have given yourself this deliberate stepping back from the usual pursuit of romantic connection has likely produced real, significant shifts in how you understand your own worth and your own needs. I want you to honor this growth fully, regardless of what happens with this particular connection or any connection in the future. The clarity, the self-respect, the groundedness you have built during this season belongs entirely to you, and it will continue serving you long after this specific situation resolves in whatever direction it ultimately takes. I want to go further into what this season has likely accomplished within you, because I think it deserves more than a brief mention. There is a particular kind of self-knowledge that only develops when you stop seeking external validation as your primary measure of worth and instead build that foundation internally. I am sensing this is exactly what has been happening for you during this period, a deepening relationship with your own needs, your own values, your own understanding of what genuine partnership would actually need to look like in order to add value to your life rather than simply filling a perceived gap. I also want to acknowledge that seasons like this are not always easy, even when they are genuinely chosen and beneficial. There may have been moments of loneliness, moments of doubt about whether this path was the right one, moments where the social pressure to be partnered felt heavier than your own conviction about taking this time for yourself. I want you to recognize the strength it has taken to maintain this boundary even through those harder moments, because that strength is precisely what has produced the magnetic quality this reading has been describing throughout. As I bring this reading toward its close, I want to leave you with the complete picture Spirit shared today. Your current season of self-focus and intentional singleness has become genuinely magnetic to someone who has noticed real depth and self-respect in how you are living right now. This person is approaching a point of expressing their genuine interest with real respect for your own timeline, rather than pressure to rush you out of something that has been serving you well. Whatever you decide about ending this current season, let that decision come fully from your own sense of readiness, trusting that genuine connection, when it is real, will honor your pace rather than demand you abandon it. Carry this knowing with you gently, without urgency, as you continue moving through your days exactly as you have been. If this reading resonated with you today, please share it with a Virgo who is in their own season of intentional self-focus right now, and let me know in the comments how this energy is landing for you. I read every comment, and I carry your stories with genuine care long after this video ends. Until next time, Virgo. Your wholeness was never something to rush past, and the right person will only want to add to it, never interrupt it. That has been true this entire time, and it remains true now.